Rise up, my country people. Rise up, my country youth. We they deserve the best, no evil.
Well, we encourage you to make sure that you start dialing now, *446#. You select option 2 to play Dewa 539 Chop Money. Win 20 times your stake with Direct 1, 40 times your stake with Direct 2, 400 times your stake with Direct 3. And then you pick from the ranges of the numbers 1 to 39. It becomes an easy win for you. And so I encourage you, you don't have to wait any longer. Dial *446#. Or you can also, just in case you have some, issues, or you want to get further and better particulars, as we say it, go to the website www.dewa-nla.com to play Dewa 539 Chop Money. Well, they also will have on the site numbers for you to seek some inquiries just in case you want to undertake them. As I always do, we'll tell you, we'll put the flyer on the screen for you, and then you'll get to know the issues we want to discuss. First will be the Ghana National Association of Teachers now advocating a national dialogue to take a relook. So far as we've implemented the free senior high school policy at reviewing the program. And this one, it's not as if it's only a suggestion. They are saying that's the position of the biggest union. And there are over 280,000 members or teachers. And, well, I'm sure you go to the National Association of Graduate Teachers, you have that as well. And so the last bit we'll look at resolving the Boko crisis, because I can tell you, none of my friends, sometimes they'll call me. They'll call me and then you'll be hearing machine gun shots. It's very scary. So we'll take a look at that. We'll have Kwesi Kwarteng. He's the PRO for the Ministry of Education. And then also we'll have Dr. Sami Aye. Is a medical doctor by profession, but also a member of the NDC's communication team. And then we'll have from Africa, the Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asare's think tank, and we'll have some dispassionate conversation. Hopefully, if we have the time, we'll open the phone lines as well. The free SHS program, per your experiences, what do you think needs to be done to ensure that we have an improvement of the policy in the first place? And, well, I already can see a number of you already joining us on the stream. Let me just introduce a number of you as well. I see Osman Tanko Otak. Good morning to you. We're grateful that you've joined Awilo Media. Boy Jefferson, Amoda Hamidu, how are you? And then also Hansen Papsino Gerard, Money, Amama Gold, Emeda Nassar, Obrimpong Kaba. Hey, Obrimpong, try and let's chat later today if you have the time. Watching from the UK, we have Johnson Komebu, and then also Mohammed Muntaka, Abdullahi Jabiru, and we have Nana Pelekufi. Some of these social media names, Charlie. Maxwell Akpabli. Maxwell, how are you? Kweku Aaron from the Eastern region is watching us. Kweku, we're grateful. Samuel Ni Ochre. And then Eric Wahada, okay. And then Zed Makpal, Emiko, Ibrahim Al-Hassan, Philip Abuchi, Mahindra Mahama. I don't know whether these are real names, but please sometimes text me so that I get to know your real names. All right. Now, Solly Evans, you've joined Lion Ni. All right. Please make sure you share the discussions as well. We'll open the phone lines at some point before we go to Boko so that you can share your experiences. Now, let's hear from the Ghana National Association of Teachers, what they've been saying, the concerns they have, and now the decision they've made. We need a national dialogue. But from those who are implementing, what are they saying? We have Thomas Musa in this story for you.
The Free SHS program was introduced in September 2017 in fulfillment of a campaign promise. In the run-up to the 2012 and 2016 general elections, the NPP made Free SHS the flagship of its manifesto. However, inherent challenges, particularly in relation to supply food items, have left some critical stakeholders to call for its review to allow parents, corporate entities, parent-teacher associations, or student associations, among others, to contribute to it. Since its implementation, the government has spent 7.62 billion cedis on the program. The Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, has reiterated its call for a drastic review and overhaul of the program to ensure its smooth implementation.
If you look at the 2019-2020 report, also tells us that 728,382 children ages 15 to 17 years who are supposed to be in SHS, they are not in school. This is the budget. This is not mine. This is the 2023 budget, with a promise that we are going to review it, and within 6 weeks we get it done. 8 months down the line, I have not seen a single review that has been done. Basic school capitation grant is in arrears for over 5 terms. How do you improve quality of teaching and learning?
He said NAT will continue to advocate until government heeds to its call.
And that when there is something and we are talking about it, they must stop and listen. You rise to Singapore. Why? Because Singapore is well developed. We were ahead of them some years ago, but today look at where we are. We are with the IMF, and we've gone there 17 good times. It is about time that we take our destiny into our hands, and the only way we can do that is by always sitting down to discuss issues.
And talking about that, somebody like John Pano, who is watching us from Chipro district, will be asking, Chireponi, and Kwesi Kwatin will be asking, how are you going to respond to NAT? Because this is the biggest teacher association, and they are a key stakeholder alongside the teacher unions. And then also we have, of course, Dr. Aye here. Doctor, good morning to you.
Good morning, Roland.
Okay.
All the doctors are leaving the medical field into politics.
But he's still
I don't know the
practicing.
motivation.
But you're still practicing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so it's just a balance act. I mean, within the next 2 years, you will leave.
You'll live there.
Join the likes of Omani Wama and Co. Anyway,
Okay.
you are welcome.
Okay. Prophet Kwesi, you are predicting that he will leave. But how do you respond to that as a ministry?
Yeah, Roland, good morning to you and your viewers. Of course, let me take the opportunity to also say good morning to the people of Asante Achem North and my good people of Tomiabra. And my good friend, today is a special day for him, my brother Anafo. Let me say good morning to all of them. Yes, NAT have raised a concern, and I mean, clearly, if you look at the caption that you gave and that of even Daily Graphic and some sections of the media, it says that NAT is demanding for a national free SHS dialogue. It's not really in a bad taste, except to say that I want to find out if indeed at the level of NAT they even had such dialogue before even coming out with maybe a matter like this. Because
You're saying NAT should have had a dialogue.
Because it looks like this is just a one-man show where you are having the general secretary coming out with
You're saying the whole association comes with this based on sentiments from they as teachers within the structure of implementation of free senior high school. And you say it's a one-mouthpiece.
No, I am not
position.
saying that. I am not saying that. What I'm saying is that if NAT had indeed, first of all, done a dialogue at their level, they would have realized that this call probably would not even have come into being. Why am I saying that? If you look at the concerns that NAT raised, first of all, they said that government lacks the resources to make the running of the free SHS reasonably practicable. I mean, you and I are aware that education largely centered on access, quality, and relevance. And if you want to take all these variables and then juxtapose it or mark all of them with the indexes that NAT has said, you realize that if they had probably had a dialogue at their own level, discuss it, check all the indicators in the area of access, in the area of quality, in the area of relevance, I'm sure NAT, wouldn't probably be seeing this news. First of all, if we look at access, and Roland, if you permit me, let's probably even look at, for instance, the national SHS enrollment trend. I'm just going to, make some few comparisons. As I speak with you, the free SHS policy has more than doubled enrollment. For instance, if you look at, let's say, the data...
Doubled from where? Which year to which year?
Let me even give you the 2015 figure. The 2015 figure, for instance, 2015 enrollment was around 269,000 649. As I speak to you, just last year, enrollment is 465,000.
If you look at, you're saying 2015.
No, I'm just giving you, I mean, a random figure.
Because we grow, before we had the 2020 or 2021 census, we were growing at a population average of some 2.3, 2.5, and now it's 2.1. So definitely people will grow.
Obviously, but I mean, if you also consider, for instance, gender parity, even somewhere in 2017, which was around 0.94, and today, if you want to take the same gender parity figure in 2019, which is around 0.99, it essentially means that you have more people, particularly girls, enrolling in secondary schools. What it essentially meant was that in previous years, families were compelled to make a decision on whether or not the boy child or the girl child who to take to school. So largely, if you have, for instance, gender parity now increasing, what it automatically means is that people are now making choices and making decisions to go to school. And of course, it's a result of the fact that the barrier of cost was removed. And so obviously you have a reflection within the enrollment trend. And there's the more reason why enrollment these days is more than doubled. So, I mean, clearly, when it comes to the area of access, you can see that, I mean, there has been some really dramatic changes within the access. For instance, let's even try to look at, let's say, the figures when it comes to, let's say, the gross tertiary enrollment ratio. Obviously, you know that gross tertiary enrollment ratio, you have to supply it from the base. I mean, more people graduating from the basic level, then to the secondary level, then they have to enter into the tertiary level. All over the world, as soon as the gross tertiary enrollment ratio hits 40% mark, that country develops. If you want to juxtapose and have instances, you have countries like Singapore, 40% it develops, Botswana it develops, America 76% it develops, South Korea it develops. Just some few years ago, ours was 18.6. Today, it's 20%. What it essentially means is that we are opening the gate and the floodway for people to move not only from the basic school level, but also from the SHS to the tertiary level. So clearly, if NAT had probably looked at these variables and these indicators when it comes to access, maybe we may have been singing different chorus. And there's a more reason why I'm saying that if NAT themselves had, let's say, a dialogue within an internal dialogue, and access the parameters based on access, based on quality, based on relevance, you realize that maybe we probably wouldn't be here. Let's look at that component of, let's say, quality. It will interest you to know that if you look at the data in relation with the outcome of the free SHS, of course, I mean, reasonably, the benchmark has always been the WASSCE exams. And it will interest you to know that it's 2020, 2021, and 2022 that we have more than 50% of the candidates obtaining A1 to C6 in all core subjects. So what it essentially means is that Ghana has been able to defy gravity. And Roland, this is interesting for you to know.
Ghana has defied what?
Gravity. I'm saying this on the basis that if you look at all over the world, as soon as enrollment increases, quality reduces. But it is only in Ghana where we were able to defy the odds. And it is a more reason why I'm saying that the free SHS program was able to defy gravity. In the case that all over the world, as soon as enrollment increases, there will be pressure on infrastructure, there will be pressure on logistics, there will be pressure on teaching and learning materials. And so you are most likely to get a reduced quality. But in the case of Ghana, the reverse is, however, true or same here.
And this is manifesting in the results.
And this is manifesting in the results. Why? Because we were able to be proactive and institute what we call the double track. So at the same time, whilst you are giving opportunity for more people to enroll, by dividing the students into tracks, you are getting more people enrolled, but reducing class size. Whilst, I mean, at the same time, you take the opportunity to improve upon the existing facilities that you have for the infrastructure.
That's from the perspective of the ministry.
I mean, the data is clear. Okay. Because if you look at, for instance, in English language, for instance, if you look at 2015, you have 45.2% of students passing. In 2022, it's 60.39. Integrated science, you have 28.7% in 2015. In 2020, you are having 62.45. Mathematics, 32.4 in 2015, and 61.39% in 2022. And social studies, 57.4% in 2015. And when it comes to 2022, that's 71.5%. But this is very profound. If we look at the 2015 data, for instance, integrated science is 28.7%. And you and I are aware that when you want to enter into any of our universities, the requirement has always been that you have to pass all the core subjects. Well, so what it essentially means is that in 2015, only 28.7% of our students had the opportunity to enter into tertiary. And that is obviously going to have an impact and affect the gross tertiary enrollment ratio. What it means is that it's going to come down. And if it comes down, it means that we will be rather shying away from the 40% mark. And therefore, we are not going to develop. I've always insisted that when you talk about education, education is pivoted on access, quality, and relevance. So you may have the access, you may have the quality, but if you don't produce chunk of your people to go to the university, increasing the gross tertiary enrollment ratio and making sure that at the end of the day there is an impact on our socioeconomic transformation, then your education has a problem. It is even the more reason why that as I speak with you, you have the Minister for Education, Dr. Elsie Duchum, forwarding and spearheading this whole STEM agenda. Roland, you realize that our government promised free SHS, but at no point did we ever promise STEM. But today, STEM has been the chorus of the day. As I speak with you, 5 new model STEM schools have been operationalized. The other 5 will be operationalized hopefully within this placement system. We have about 20 science resource centers that are being constructed. And when we talk even about, for instance, the retooling of the existing science laboratories in our various schools is also quite ongoing. So, if you look at all these parameters within the secondary school space in terms of access,
do you know Africa Education Watch?
I know EduWatch. Kofi Asari's group.
Kofi Asari is not group. It's a think tank, and what they do basically is research and juxtaposing your figures you churn out with what the reality and then what the universality of funding is. Globally, we shouldn't be funding under 4% of our national budget. What they do say is that as a country, we don't fund education to meet what the benchmarks are universally.
So what is he saying? It's under or
it's education generally, especially across senior high schools, and being underfunded.
No, I've read his research. I've read a lot of his arguments. I've been on
even argues from the basic level. I've
been on other many platforms with him, and it's rather very reverse. His argument has always been that our focus is so much on the secondary education at the neglect of the basic school. That's his argument, and I've always laughed at that argument because you see, it's just how do you call it? A very simplistic argument. Simplistic on the basis that, for instance, you cannot take, let's say, SHS budget and then compare to that of basic schools, and by that basis saying that I will conclude that one part has been neglected. Why am I saying that? I am saying that on the basis that if you look at, for instance, funding of education, there exists different levels of funding education, and at every level has its own cost implications. If you come to, let's say, basic level, and you are constructing, let's say, 6-unit classroom block, you cannot compare such a cost to, let's say, construction of, 10 hostel facilities for secondary schools. So, clearly, that comparison, is...
For the Ministry of Education, you don't buy that comparison.
These are objective or realities.
Yeah, these are based on qualitative evidence as well as information or data that is picked from the ground.
Yeah, data, it depends on how you interpret your data.
Okay, so the argument is, if basic level funding is not up to the optimum, it also means that the quality of students you have entering senior high school, even though you have them in bulk, also reduce, ultimately affecting the quality at senior high school level. No, it's very simplistic and unfounded.
Because
he says that even just making meaning of what the essential results are at the end of the year for senior high schools cannot be conclusive enough for you to make.
Roland, I am saying that such comparison does not even come into play in the first place. And it's simplistic. And you see, the point is that you are unable to compare the two. Because at every level,
you don't think there's a certain...
I'm saying that at every level...
Asymmetry or
symbiotic... but he took the... that's why I said I've been on several platforms with him. He took the base figure and said that, let's say 100,000 is going into free SHS or a secondary school education, 50,000 is going into secondary education, and for that matter, we are neglecting basic school education. And I'm saying that argument is simplistic and unfounded on the basis that if you look at the cost of educating, for instance, let's even move from, if you look at the cost of educating a medical doctor, It can't be the same as the cost of educating somebody in crèche. I'm
coming.
It was just an example. If you look at the cost
it's a wrong example.
No, I'm coming. But at the end of the day, we are still talking about the same thing. If you look at the cost
We're not talking about the same. We're talking about cost of money.
So to be fair to you,
please compare like for like.
No, so to be fair to you, I mean, this is a non-issue. So to be fair to you, compare training a science student in a secondary school and that of a KG student, which is more expensive. Compare providing infrastructure for secondary school students and that of, let's say, basic school students, which is more expensive. Again, you see what?
So, what works for Africa Education Watch is that if you hypothetically give more funding to basic education at the public school level, that science student at the secondary school level becomes more knowledgeable, and so the quality of that science student is better, and it makes the output from the senior high school level better to contribute to national development after entering tertiary. That's the argument of Africa Education.
No. You see, what he does is that...
Because what they say, we're just doing wholesaling. Everybody has to go.
But whose child do you think should be left behind?
Nobody has said it. The argument is that the person's child that is entering senior high school should be knowledgeable enough because that person is competing with other children from the private schools.
So what is your point? I mean, I don't.
So my point is that the quality are not the same from public basic to private basic.
I think right now you are introducing a new argument. So you want to say that at the public school level, in terms of quality.
We're talking generally about quality. And you are saying that Africa Education Watch argument that the underfunding, if you look at how the trajectory is at basic school level, at the private level, should be equitable to how the focus is also for the senior high school level and also tertiary education, because there are trends of quality that should translate from one level to the
Roland, other. I mean, I'm not sure my point came out very clearly to
you.
Please
establish your point. Because I don't get your point.
What I initially said it, because at the end of the day, the whole argument is pivoted or centered on funding. And I want to remind you that it costs differently to educate different categories of students. It's just simplistic.
Well, true.
So you cannot just use a base figure and say that because what you compare at the basic school level and the SHS level is not the same, essentially means that a portion or the basic schools are being neglected. No, that is so simplistic. Again, there exists other sources of funding when it comes to funding education. I mean, if you recall, for instance, if you look at, let's say, the basic school level, apart from what government of Ghana provides, we have donor support and for instance, if you look at Gallup, for instance, Gallup alone was funding about 100,000 schools. In that case, it won't be captured within the government of Ghana budget. So if you have a Watch or any other organization saying that, because I went to look through the Ghana government budget and I did not see, let's say, funding for SHS and basic school the same, it means that it has been neglected. Okay. Such an argument cannot be sustained.
We have Mr. Kwe joining us from Africa Education. Good morning to you, sir. Mr. Kwe, good morning.
Good morning, Roland. Can you hear me?
Yes. We're just having an argument right here, and Kwesi Kwarteng represents the Ministry of Education. Now, for the subject of inequitable funding across board, if you look at from basic to senior high school level and how there seemed to be a certain undulating in terms of what the focus is, being only on senior high school more than we have for the basic, that tends to affect the quality, as you have been raising as a think tank or Africa Education Watch. How justifiable is that?
All right, thank you, Roland, and good morning to your viewers. Clearly so, at EduWatch, we, like several other CSOs, have been making a call for review, and the recent one is by the Ghana National Association of Teachers. We've looked at the items they spelled out in their press as to what should be looked out in the review. And let me first of all state that if one of the major stakeholders in the implementation of the free-senior high school policy, teachers, are saying that they need a review, I think we need to give that consideration.
Why?
Because, of course, they are one of the major stakeholders. They are the ones, or let me say, running the program. If the success of this program we need to talk about it. It comes back to the teachers, how it is run, the effectiveness. It's all about the teachers. And I know that in every policy cycle, review or evaluation is part of the cycle. And if you look at the Free Senior High School document, the monitoring and evaluation section, it also provides that for every 5 years, the policy will be reviewed if necessary. It's just okay that for the first 5 years, we have a major review, because even your own policies documents spell that you are given a space for review for every 5 years if there's the need be. And though you have added a clause that if there's the need be, it's just okay that the first 5 years, since that's the first phase of the implementation, you just carry out a review. And so if the stakeholder teachers are saying they need a review because there are some deficits that need to be addressed, it's just okay that government listen to them. I don't see why government is finding it difficult to have that engagement with them. They are the major stakeholders. But coming back to your point about issues of equity between basic education and the senior high school, the data is explicit. We are not saying that because funding to basic and senior high school is not equal, therefore there's lack of equity in that. No, it's not about equality. You can't give equal amount to secondary school education and then the same amount to basic education. We're looking at it from the dimension of how fund is decreasing at the end of basic education, and that of the senior high school continues to increase. Very simple. We can even take the last year budget and then this year budget. If you look at the budget for goods and services, where if you want to clearly analyze issues of how do I call it, quality in our education system, we need to look at the area of goods and services. And if you look at the goods and services budget line for basic education, last year, 2022, it was 292 million, and that decreased by about 40% to 167 million. While that of SHS increased from 2.3 billion to 2.7 billion. And that has been a trend. And when you look at it in percentage-wise, that represents that's 4% in terms of the goods and services budget. That represents that's 4% for basic education. And it decreased from 6% in 2022 to 4% in 2023. While that of the SHS has also increased in percentage-wise. So yes, yeah.
Okay, so what the Ministry of Education is concluding, that you cannot just look at the annual budgetary allocations and make conclusions that because there are upward adjustments by way of the projections for expenditure and also for the reported financial years of the expenditure, that definitely tends to affect quality.
That's not enough to assess cost?
That definitely will not be enough an argument to make that it affects quality at the basic level.
Well, the data is there about deficits that are existing.
You're saying that is conclusive enough?
Level.
Okay.
We also know what is happening at the basic education level. 2023, government at least expected to allocate 80 million Ghana cedis for capitation grants. What government has allocated from that is 11 million Ghana cedis. If that amount, that represents that 13%. What that means is that once the capitation grant is not available, schools at the basic education level cannot run effectively.
Yeah.
If we are implementing free compulsory universal basic education, it is the capitation grant that gives blood to the free universal basic education. And if the money is not there, how will school run effectively for us to promote?
Okay, Mr. Kpe, just hold it there. And where do we get the counter argument from you as well? Because at the end of the day, you listen to Africa Education Watch. The ministry also says that we've seen so much improvement in enrollment. The point of the argument from where you be coming from would what?
First of all, let me say good morning to our viewers. Good morning to my senior brother Kwesi Kwarteng, and good morning to yourself. I think my senior brother Kwesi Kwarteng has made a lot of bewildering claims.
Bewildering?
Yes. And it's very, very surprising, because you see what he says are not borne out by the facts. You see, Mr. Kwesi Kwarteng says that if the NAT, had sat down as a team to think about what their secretary said, they wouldn't have come by that conclusion.
I didn't say that.
Well, that's what you said.
Please go ahead and make your point. He said he didn't make that. Please go ahead.
No, we all heard him. He said
I can correct myself.
Please.
Is that, when
Oh, please go ahead.
I was quiet. When you talk, I was quiet. You see, the thing is that he said that if the secretary had consulted the whole NAT body, he wouldn't have made that claim. And he thinks that it's a one-man show.
I said this.
But he has forgotten that just a few months ago, his government came out to tell the whole country that per their consultations with the IMF, there are so many flagship policies that will be reviewed, including the free SHS.
That's true.
Is it not true?
The call has been put on
And so,
hold. Please
Mr.
A point of it. It's in this document.
Yeah, so Mr. Kwesi Kwarteng who is communicating for the government, is saying completely different thing from the position of the government. And for me, that's very unfortunate. There's no consistency. The PRO is saying something different. The government is also saying something different. You see, there's this claim that before free SHS, there was not an increase in SHS enrollment. That is an absolute lie. Because before the MPP came into power, enrollment into secondary schools have always been increasing. Indeed, under the NDC, it's increased at an average of 35, 40, 50%.
I think
Where are you getting this fact from?
He says the quantum.
It is only a function of population growth. It's only a function. But you see,
No,
for the
percentage doesn't
purposes...
work like that.
Mr. Kwarteng, please let me talk. Okay. You see, the thing is that the MPP, okay, has created a certain impression to the people of Ghana that they are putting in so much money into free SHS such that they are unable to, fund other projects in this country. And that's not true. Because if you look at the numbers, just last 2 years, the minister tells us that they have injected just about 5.7 billion Ghana cedis into free SHS so far. And so let's even assume that they have only added additional 3 billion to the amount. We are looking at about 8 billion Ghana cedis invested in free SHS. Okay, that pales into insignificance comparing the total amount of money this government has had from taxes, from grants, from oil revenue, from loans. If you spend 8 billion on free SHS, whilst we have accrued over 600 billion, you cannot come and tell the whole country that the difficulties we are facing with free SHS is because we are pumping so much money.
What kind of logic is this?
It's a fact.
That what?
They say that they are spending so much on free SHS and that because of that, they are unable to fund other educational activities. And I'm showing you that they have only invested only 8 billion in free SHS. Meanwhile, they have gotten over 600 billion in excess through taxes, through loans, through oil revenue, through grants. And so the reason why free SHS is facing difficulties is because there is no genuine political commitment.
Then why is it being implemented? Because it's been implemented because there's a commitment.
There is no commitment. They took advantage of the people of Ghana in 2015 and 2016. They wanted to cling onto power. They needed to say what the people will buy into. That's why since they've been in power, all their flagship policies, free SHS, one day so one factory, whatever they have done has gone aground. And every parent watching me today knows within them that the government has failed them. And so I certainly agree with NAT, the civil society organizations. Indeed, President Mahama was the one that mooted the idea that the free SHS has to be reviewed in terms of its scope, in terms of the beneficiaries of the policy, in terms of the allocation of the resources. But let nobody in this country suggest to us that the government has spent so much on free SHS. That is why they are difficult. Today, even the free SHS that they have spoken so much about, it's witnessing such sloth. It is dogged with massive problems that completely undermines the relevance for which the policy was set up.
Okay.
When you look at basic education, there are so many problems. Capitation grant has not been paid for systems. They have difficulties with furniture. They have difficulties with even allocation of teachers to the schools. They have so many difficulties that completely rubbishes whatever they have done. And you see, I have listened to the CSO. Yesterday, I read a document from most of the CSOs. There's one they call ICDP. There is Star Ghana Foundation. There's World Vision. They issued a document I can even send to you, where they catalog all the problems facing education in this country. Meanwhile, the government tells us that they have invested so much. And so how can you invest so much and the policy you are purporting to invest in witnesses this problem? The only conclusion one can make is that there is no political commitment. They are not interested in doing anything. They are only being pedestrian. There's shallow populism all over the place. Indeed, President Kufuor, when he was in opposition, he was asked the amount of monies that will be invested in free SHS. He was there bundling about figures. So there was no thinking through the policy. They were only doing political propaganda. And so we are certainly going to join any civil society organization, including President Mahama, who is the NDC's flag, but who has made a point that when he's being voted for in 2025, so much thinking, so much research, and so much planning will go through the review of the free SHS policy. Indeed, the government has already said with their commitment to IMF that they are going to review the policy. Just that
Roland.
It will fly. You see, it is against their own commitments that reviewing of free SHS means cancelling. And so it's a political blunder if they come out openly to say that they review. Right.
Okay, so we still have from Africa Education Watch, Mr. Kwe there. But let's come to the practicals. Because I know that, because I allowed you to just oppose your argument or try to situate your argument with the figures that you have from the ministry, of which I'm also privy. So, but at the end of the day, practically, you are a teacher, right? You've been a teacher before, or you've not been a teacher before? You've not.
We'll proceed.
Okay. So practically, when you go to some of the top schools, the parents augment resources provision from their own pockets. Has that come to your attention? More so, the functionality of the PTA is not like it used to be before. So the headmasters are afraid even to make commitments to ensure that the allocations or the needs, the resource needs of their schools sometimes are shifted to maybe the chairs of the PTAs, etc., to ensure that the parents themselves made the commitment. For example, if it's some of the top schools, if they are mowers, the parents will have to bear them. Hitherto, they will have to be billed. And then if there are needs for augmenting provision for food, they have to do it themselves. And parents are taking money out of their own pocket to do that. Are you aware some of these things have been done?
Roland, I'm going to answer you, but before that, you gave me the opportunity to put down some of my points so that I can quickly respond to them. So I'm sure from responding, we could then proceed to yours.
No, you answer mine and then you do that.
Oh, we can do the reverse. I mean, to be fair, if you are able to give me some of the schools that parents have contributed, we'll quickly.
Are you saying you are not aware?
I mean, you are making a claim, and I'll be glad with some list of schools. You see, Roland,
I should give you list of schools.
What essentially happened?
Are you saying you are not aware these things have enumerated that true?
That at the end of the day, the Free SHS Secretariat, neither the Ministry of Education or GES, is against any voluntary contribution from parents. We are not against that. I mean, let me state that explicitly clear. That at no point is the Secretariat or Ministry of Education or Ghana Education Service against any voluntary contribution by any whatever association or parents or whoever that voluntarily contributes and say that we are going to get A or B or C. I mean, I think it's Wesley Girls. We have the Old Students Association also contributing to build, refurbish a lab for them, even though the Ministry of Education also gave them one. So nobody is against that. But if you look at how the context within which you have put it, as though logistics or resources were not there, and based on that, such mobilization had to go. At no point did such happen. You see, there were claims again by, for instance, EduWatch, that St. Peter's, for instance, were engaged in that, where monies were being taken from students to with the whole idea about going to get them food. But as I speak with you, at no point have we reneged on our responsibilities of taking food to the various schools. So yes, I mean, you may ask that question, but the fact is that we do not have such a complaint where, I mean, we have formally the secretariat or schools bailing students to provide food or whatever logistics. But I mean, the balance is that the secretariat or the Free SHS secretariat or the Ministry of Education, we are not against any voluntary contribution from whatsoever. But at every point, government's commitment in terms of provision of foods, in terms of providing whatever resources, being it textbooks, being it, how do you call it, examination fees, paying monies to buffer stock to be able to make sure that they provide resources, the needed resources for the schools. At every point, government has been going on with such commitment. But Roland, now to come to, I mean, the points that were raised by my brothers. You see, at every point, you see EduWatch talking about allocation of monies to schools. And at every point, their argument...
Based on empirical data.
Yes, and I'm not deviating from that data, but I just want to remind them that, you see, to have a very holistic and fair conversation, it is rather more good to rely on percentage of expenditure than percentage of allocation when you are making any, I mean, analysis. Why am I saying that? The point is that I can allocate 1,000 Ghana cedis to you, but in the budget, but end up spending, let's say, 1 cedi. I can also allocate 5 cedis to you and end up spending the whole 5 cedis. So I have always reminded them, but I don't know why they are not, I mean, taking that free consultation. At every point, if you want to look at government's commitment to the Free SHS program and even to basic schools, because I think at any point, as soon as they bring issues of Free SHS, you react, you give the facts, then they quickly switch to basic school. But at every point, if you want to measure government's commitment in education whatsoever, whether the level of basic, whether the level of SHS, or even at the university, you have to measure that commitment with a percentage expenditure, not that of allocation. Because allocation, you can actually allocate more whilst end up spending less. Again, I mean, just a quick one on what my brother said. But I understand him. I mean, he's a medical doctor. He doesn't have educational background.
He didn't go to senior high school.
Come again?
He didn't go to senior high school. Is that what you're saying?
Per your logic, we should have brought SHS students to come and speak. He's speaking in the capacity.
That's not my logic.
No,
you say that
logic,
he doesn't have the background. Or you are saying are you saying that he's not an educationist?
So if you had allowed me to land, probably you would have.
Please land, because the way you took off, it's a wrong takeoff. Please land.
No, I think that is prejudicial to the point that I was going to make, and I feel it's not right. You should have just allowed me to land. Probably after that, you could give your comments. And just a reminder, you are just the host, not to mark what we say. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that he is just a communicator who is representing the NDC. I felt they would have brought somebody who has more knowledge in education. Because see, you made a wild claim that in NDC's time, enrollment was going up. Just let me remind you of the figures. In 2015, in NDC's time, enrollment was 269,000. 649. In 2022, it's 465,000. I want you to give me an instance. I am coming from the Ministry of Education. You came here with no data, with no facts, and you sit here and quote enrollment at your time was increasing let me land. It was increasing 30%, 40%, 50%. You mentioned 3 different percentages. Which is which? Again, let me land. I mean, I'm on the floor. I've also been able to demonstrate to you that when it comes to, for instance, even moving beyond enrollment and looking at, let's say, quality, I'm just going to give you the aggregate passes in WASSCE in core subjects. In 2015, in your administration, it was 45.2. In 2022, it was 60.39. 2015, integrated science, 28.7. In 2022, it was 62.45. 2015, mathematics was 32.4. In 2022, it's 61.39. Social studies in your administration, that is the best that you had. In 2015 was 57.4. In 2022 is 71.5. Now, let me also even give some random schools in terms of how they were performing in your time and our time. And at the end of the day, you then conclude whether or not you were doing better. Roland, let's look at this. I'm not going to mention school like, let's say, Presec Legon, but Presby SHS in 2015.
Where? There are many Presbys.
Is it this place?
Manfi.
No, around the this Ekropon region. This Ekropon, yes, there's one Presby SHS in Ekropon. In 2015, in terms of the improved pass rate in 6 subjects, in your time it was 0.95. In 2022, we are having 57.88%. And I'm not going to land there. I'm also going to give you a school. So the Presby, I have the facts here, is actually at Mampong, so within the Ekropon enclave. So let me give you another school, Odogono SHS. Odogono SHS, during your time, the pass rate, you were recording 10.34%. How come within this time we are recording 46.05%? And these are data which you can verify from WAEC. Let's even say that the Ministry of Education, because I'm a politically exposed person, I'm not giving you the facts. You can verify from WAEC. Let me give you a school like Ahantaman. You were scoring 0.2% out of the 100. Let's say if you take 100 students, just 2 of them. It's even less than 2 because this one is 0.2. Were passing the WASSCE exams. Today, we are having 43.12. So on what basis would you, make such claims? Look at the enrollment as I speak with you. Now enrollment is over 1.3 million. Today, because of free SHS, we've employed more than 85,000 teachers. At the SHS level, and Roland, this is the news that I have to break on your platform. If you look at, for instance, teacher to student ratio, student to teacher ratio, for instance, as I speak to you, is one of the best in Africa, contrary to what Angkor reported and the likes of Dr. Apak reported. It's 15:1. At the TVET level, we have 152,000 students, 537, and if you look at the teachers, with 11,731, also making the student to teacher ratio 13.1, which has to be the best. So largely, if you compare access, if you compare quality, if you compare the fact that we've repositioned education so that it meets the 21st century demands, clearly, you come to one conclusion, that yes, we may have challenges within the education system. And I've always insisted that all those challenges that we had predated even SHS because it's been systemic. Okay. But overall, we should pat our back and say that as a country, we've made some wild improvements and strides.
So this one is coming from Child Rights International. And the Executive Director is sending me this. It says, over the years, we've seen increase in enrollment at all levels. What has been done to reduce the percentage of children who do not get access to secondary education? Even with that, it was as a result of the double track system. Let's remain objective in discussing issues of education. And he also says early childhood education in private school and government schools do not even attract professional teachers. Preparing students at the foundational level is critical to ensuring that you get quality at the free SHS level. Now, Mr. Kwe, from Africa Education Watch, practically, even though the funding allocations have been made, and then also the projections per what the figures are, looks good. What really are the inherent practical issues that you've noted? Of course, we have also gone round. You look at the quality of food that is served, very bad. Sometimes you have students not having enough either sleeping accommodation or classroom accommodation, etc. And these are pertinent issues that, as a parent, everybody faces. And we get some of these interactions all the time, day in, day out. Mr. Kwe, what are the practical challenges that have been noticed from your side as civil society?
All right, before I move on to that, let me make the point that indeed, if you look at the expenditure, this time not just allocation, if you take the expenditure as Mr. Kwatin wants us to go by that tangent, if you take the expenditure we still come back to the same point that you are going to see decreasing rate when it comes to percentage allocation to basic, while you see increasing rate for that of the senior high school. So whether allocation or expenditure, there's no difference in it. It amounts to the same issue. But of course, the issues we all are aware of what is happening at the senior high school level. Then you have to report in to us every day when it comes to food issues, when it comes to issue of furniture. But I must admit, on the part of furniture, government is doing. I don't want to use quite well. It's doing well to expand access over the last 6 to 7 years. Government has been on issue of infrastructure. And that is why we see much of the GET fund allocation to senior high school, to the point that we even have to see GET fund being securitized to be able to get to get loan to be able to address the infrastructure challenge at that level. So government gave us 5 to 7 years to be able to address the infrastructure deficits at that level, so that we can get back to the usual calendar of single track. I'm very positive that about 1 to 2 years that government has to deliver that promise. I'm very positive that we'll be able to get there because of the infrastructure expansion that have been ongoing. So yes, we still have pocket of issues when it comes to infrastructure, but I must admit that work continues to be done on that. And as I mentioned, we also are aware that government has been in debt to food suppliers and also in debt to because of the uniform supplier. So there remains quite pocket of issues that needs to be addressed, and not that have spelled them out in their presser. For me, I don't want us to go to the specific. What the major stakeholders are asking for is a review. I don't see why government is so reluctant on engaging them. The people that are implementing
Mr. Akpe, from you as Africa Education Watch, if there are key areas of implementation that would need review, what would be the 5-pointer areas?
All right. The first would be to engage parents on their needs to supplement the funding of the free senior high school. We need to get to a point of bringing parents on board. And then we also have to address the equity issue when it comes to those that the program should necessarily target. Because for me, I don't think we are at a point of this whole still is addressing the deficit that the issue of inequity that we are seeing. So we need to address the inequity that is existing in the system. This wholesale approach is not helping. We need to make it more targeted. And of course, you listen to the IMF, they are making the same point that if the program is not well targeted, and they use the word well not targeted, but of course it's not targeted at all, so it's not an issue of not even well targeted. So we need to also come back to the point of how we address the issue of equity to be able to target it to those that actually need it. And again, once you talk about equity and then targeting the program, the argument people make is how do we identify those that actually need it? We are not the first country implementing free senior high school. There have been countries that have faced success. South Africa is there, Kenya is there. We can go to South Africa and look at what they are doing. They are not doing a wholesale approach. They have ways of even addressing the issue of those who actually need the program and should be able to target it. And even government, if you look at the free SHS policy, you read through the policy and get to the point of equity that government is talking about. Government is able to tell us that when we take every 100 pupils that enroll at KG, you will not be able to see 20% of those that are from the poorest quintile entering SHS. That means even government has a fair idea of those that actually are not progressing to SHS because of poverty. So even the policy document gives
these are the people who draw, the pupils that tend to drop, by the way, right? Across the educational ladder.
Of course, but then also transition from the GSS 3 to
Mr. Akpe, so far, if Africa Education would have to rate the implementation so far of free senior high school as a policy from 0 to 10, what will it be?
No, I'll refrain from doing that.
Thank you for refraining. Thank you very much, Mr. Akpe, for giving us this update. As far as this is concerned, it also means that we have to get to the nitty-gritties as far as this is related. So I have this from a teacher, and I know you don't like the practical question, so this is a practical question. So he says, keep me anonymous. And this is a friend of mine, my classmate, who is a teacher at senior high school. I won't mention the school. Says, for example, in my school, teacher-to-student ratio is 1 to... I'm really suffering... Okay, for example, in my school, I'm really suffering as my department. We are only 5 teachers handling over 1,000 students for both core mathematics and elective mathematics. This may not be the situation across all schools, but the picture should not be painted that this definitely will not affect quality. And then I have this one also that says that while politics is important, we have to be practical. If you go to the schools, the quality of food that is served is poor. And these have been brought to limelight even by the media. And I know TV3, we've covered a couple of them. How do you answer some of these things?
I don't like practical questions, but
yes.
Anyway.
You've seen some of the state of the quality of the food that is served in some of the schools.
Roland, per your own standard. So let me answer the question in the order that you asked. First of all, with regards to the teacher-to-student ratio that the gentleman raised, it's quite difficult for me to really understand if that is really the situation. But quickly...
You mean he's lying?
No, that's what I'm saying. So I have always insisted that if you had allowed me to land. So what I'm saying is that quickly, even off air, if you're able to give me the name of the school, because the person is anonymous, I mean, you are guaranteed that your perceptions, perceived perceptions of victimization will not even come to play. But the point is that quickly we'll go to that school. If they indeed need teachers, we'll supply them teachers. Except to say that, as I speak with you, just last month, the teachers that were validated within the SHS space were 85,934. If you divide by the 1331219 students, every teacher should be assigned to 15 students. So the teacher-to-student ratio is 15:1. Of course, I mean, there are instances where you also go into some of the schools, programs like agriculture. You may have about 4 teachers where probably teaching just 4 students and they are running a shift. So it is possible. I mean, this, if it is true, it just, I mean, borders on how teachers are just placed within the various schools, and we'll quickly address that. So I'll take the name of the school off air. And of course, I think the other issue had to do with the quality of food. Roland, you see, to be very realistic to all of us, I wouldn't run away from that debate that at every point we need the best of food for our children. But you see, the point is that if we are cooking for over 1.3 million students, morning, afternoon, evening.
Who are the beneficiaries?
Yes, who are the beneficiaries? It is possible that within one of the days, you may get some students, let's say 5-10 students or 1-2 schools, raising those isolated incidents on quality.
I've had friends who work with the audit service. They go to audit schools, sometimes Western North, Western region, and they tell me, sometimes they call me, they say, sometimes the schools don't have supplies for about a month. So students sometimes will have to depend on a certain grain. The same grain will be cooked. If it's rice pudding, you have rice. These are instances that tend to happen. And these reports are brought to us. Are you saying that these are isolated or they are just not real?
Roland, you just repeated your question. I mean, just that is in different forms. So I'm also going to proceed with the answer that I was giving.
Quality.
So you are still on quality, or have you changed to quantity? It's still the same.
Okay.
So you see, Buffer Stock supplies food to students. I mean, they have the responsibility, officially charged to do the food distribution. Within what they do, they are supposed to supply about 15 food items. Within those 15 food items, I mean, there is a possibility that you may have a school having, let's say, 13 food items, which 2, I mean, that the school at the end of the day have not really taken delivery of. Those instances could be there due to transportation challenges, due to storage challenges, due to logistical challenges. But quickly, when we get the news of such, or we hear such formal complaint, we just direct Buffer Stock and whatever institution that need that food item is sent. You see, we are not running a system which, I mean, we have the human interface. Let's admit, we have the human interface. So you may have some 1 or 2 lapses, but our duty as the ministry is that when those challenges come, we quickly go in, intervene and resolve it. So the assurance I'm giving you is that if you have any school where there is such challenge, just let me know, whether on air or off air. We will quickly direct and get that whatever situation resolved.
All right. Okay, so we just have some small time. So once you add this, for example,
plenty time.
I have to give
you have to give me plenty time.
Okay. So I have this one who says that I'm a teacher in a school in the Eastern region. The percentage pass the ministry spokesperson is saying is not the reality on the ground. Headmasters are forced to make the program look good by solving questions for students during or periods prior to exam. I'm a teacher and I know what I'm talking about. Questions are brought for teachers to solve with the students and distribute among students prior to the period where they write the mock. And most of the students are not willing to even enter university because they know they are not worth it in relation to how quality they are in knowledge.
Which school is that? What has he done about it?
He says anonymous.
And he just stayed there. And this only happened during the first test time.
No, he's talking about the way students are prepared.
Roland,
that we solve questions for them.
Please.
I think he's talking about Pascal.
As a good teacher, you should repair to, how do you call it?
Roland.
Inform officials that such compromise is going on so that we take steps.
Please speak to Senior Kwesi to allow me flow. Because when he was talking, I didn't talk. Okay. So I'm about to speak. You see, I'm happy that these concerns are coming from
those on the ground.
Okay, they know what is going on. So I won't sit here and actually delve deep or contribute to what they are saying. It has to be organic. They know what is worrying them, and they are the best people to talk about it. But you see, my brother Kwesi has engaged in a lot of intellectual dishonesty on this page.
Please.
He says that they have increased enrollment from 200,000 to 400,000 in just 1 year. But he failed to tell us the increment before that 200,000.
Not 1 year. That'll be up to 20.
No, I compared 2015 to 2020. Just a random comparison. I didn't say 1 year.
Why do you do that though? Why don't you do from 20?
No, because 2015 they were in power.
The population is increasing.
No, I'm saying that in 2015 they were in power. I just gave you those figures.
So the point that he claims to have a lot of knowledge as far as the education sector is concerned.
I worked there.
But he has even failed to know that his government was the one that actually first made the commitment that they will review free SHS. But you see, the issue is that Kwesi here is undermining the concerns raised. We all went to SHS. When we were in school, we were fed morning, afternoon, evening. There was no point where the sort of food that is being given to children now were given at our time. I sent you a picture. I don't know whether your producer can project it.
A picture of one of the...
In Nandom Secondary last week.
Oliver, please, you want to see the picture?
Yes, I want our viewers to see the picture of the food that was served to Nandom Secondary School students just a week ago. The students had demonstrated that they were not going to go to class again because of the poor state of food that was being given to them. So if you sit here and tell us that because food distribution from buffer stock has gone wrong in some isolated situation, that is why what is happening now is happening. You are not being fair to the people. All those videos that have been circulated on social media, okay, about the poor or the sorry state of food that has been given to students are not or cannot be deemed as isolated situation. It is a genuine problem. Okay, and so we need to humble ourselves. We need to be candid enough. We need to be welcoming to the concerns raised by the technocrats on the ground, civil society organizations, and we the political actors. Look at this food. Okay, how can you give this food to secondary school children?
Which school is
this
that?
Raw rice.
Rice and some water.
Random. Okay, next picture.
Please project the second one.
Where did you get the picture? Your people sent it to you.
My people.
Roland, so I'm also going to share pictures with you where the minister was in school.
Roland, look.
That
rice
is what.
And this soup. Is it water or a soup? How can you feed innocent children with this food? And when people raise concerns,
He said which school is that?
Nandom Secondary.
Very well.
It happened last week. The students have even demonstrated about the poor food that has been given to them. And so when people raise concerns about it, it is not up to you, Kwesi Kwarteng, PRO for Education Ministry, to come and undermine the concerns and think that it is those of us in opposition who are making the claim. These are genuine concerns. There have been situations where students, you have taken over 7 years to end double track. Just go and organizing contractors to buy sand and cement and chippings to build dormitories and secondary schools. You have taken over 7 years to do, but you are comparing yourself to a government that solved a major power crisis. You see, so these people are, one, incompetent, two, they have no commitment, they are only engaged in shallow populism, and that the issue worrying education in this country is as a result of their sheer ineptitude. And so we will obviously support any, effort
for dialogue
to reform. Like
right.
They have made a commitment to the IMF.
Okay. Teachers are having difficulty.
No, I want to respond to the food first. He showed it, except to say I've also sent you.
You sent me another
I've sent you a picture. I hope that one is also projected. So that
have you sent it?
Yeah, I've sent to you. It demonstrates the impartiality of the media. But you see, the point
is it the
media?
Can I? You brought this whole thing about when you are talking, people should interfere.
Okay.
Roland.
Oliver, I've sent another one.
Roland.
Which school is this?
Islamic SHS Kumasi.
Okay.
The Minister of Education went there. Roland, what I'm saying is that, first of all, if indeed that is the state of food in Namdom SHS, as is alleged, where we just
this is Islamic school.
Yes.
When the minister went there, that's when the minister went there.
Are you saying that when the minister goes there, then they prepare nice food?
Yes.
Oh,
but that's it. That's it.
He sent us this.
Okay.
I mean, it's not something that I'm willing to engage.
Please comment on
because I mean,
conclude your comments as well.
No, what I'm saying is that we just saw a picture of a bowl supposedly coming from Nandom. Even, I mean, for the purpose of this discussion, let's even admit that that is the case and it's indeed coming from Nandom. The assurance that I'm giving as the spokesperson for the minister is that I'm going to forward it to the minister so that whatever intervention, we quickly intervene. I mean, this is disgusting and it's not food that people ought to eat. That is if it's coming from Namdom. So we'll quickly intervene. So that is the assurance I'm giving you. Just a picture, and I'm surprised that that was even shown on media, that a picture of a supposed bowl with no students, no uniform, allegedly coming from a school. That's fine, but we'll quickly intervene. But you see, the point is that...
So that one is alleged. But
no, I have shown you faces and a school.
But we have also shown a number of stories.
You projected a bowl
with food
and the soup. And supposedly, I mean, to be for students. But the point is that the assurance that I'm giving is that if this is true, we will quickly look into it and make sure that the right thing is done. That is the assurance that I'm giving you.
We want to take some phone calls so that people will get some.
Very well.
Okay, please. Mr. Kwesi Kwarteng is willing to take some phone calls to address one or two other issues. And so we're putting the numbers on the screen, and then we'll do cash out subsequently. Now, this one is from Onyamedeshe Kofi Boam. It says, why is Kwesi Kwarteng? And this one is coming from your constituency. Your constituency is
Asante
Achim North. Onyamedeshe, thank you for the message.
Is it testing for Asante Achim North?
Yeah, he says that's what he posted.
Oh, good day, man. People that too.
And then Obrimpong Kabat. That food was specially given to the student on the day the minister went there, just as party contractors quickly tried to make rules when the president is visiting some areas.
It's simple.
So to make it easy, Roland, don't take claims from any of us. Take your media people. Don't let us be lazy and rely on.
Are you saying we're lazy?
No.
Or you're not addressing us?
No. I'm making a general statement that at the end of the day, none of us should be lazy. Okay. We should quickly take the media.
Please, we're taking two phone calls. Do we have them?
Walk into the school and verify for ourselves. It is not for he to make claims for me to counter.
Yeah.
You can do that work. Go take the pictures and report. But I'm saying that, do you genuinely think that from Monday till Friday, students are not being served, students are not eating, and it's not raising national security concern in this country? Come on.
Okay. Wee Boniface says that, please tell Mr. Kwarteng that my former school in my home district, Lambusie, precisely Pena Senior High School, 3 weeks ago ran out of food, and students were asked to bring a bowl of maize each to enable the school to run. It says that draw his attention. So Lambusie.
Which school is that?
Lambusie.
I've just sent to the buffer stock to verify, and if it's valid, they should quickly go there.
Okay. Hello, you're calling from Kwewu. Good morning to you.
You send more.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, you're calling from Kwewu. Good morning.
Yes, Roland, I'm calling from Kwewu.
Okay. Please talk to me directly, and then lower the volume of your set, whether it's your TV.
I'm not near my set.
Okay, please, if you have any contribution to make on our discussion.
Yes, please, I do. Yeah, I'm calling from Kwewu, in the Eastern region to be precise. Yeah, please, about the food, the food given to our children at school, I do have the same problem. My ward is in Obo Crest. It's one of the secondary schools in Korea. Roland, I bet you, the other time I went there on Sunday, and my God, the food that my daughter was being served with.
What food was it?
It was, what do you call it? It was just rice and what do you call it? Abenquine.
Rice and abe.
Maybe he wanted
You didn't like the rice and abe or what? What exactly was wrong with the food?
The rice was just mad. The soup, I don't know whether it's water or just it's water, then they just pour the palm oil on it.
Gas oil. It's called gas oil.
From that time till now, every weekend when I go there, I take banku, fish, and definitely she already have the shit and stuff. And I also give her money to be buying outside food because this food, even I don't know, I don't trust even the priest that will take such a food. So please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. No, wait. Let me take one more call. So you want to respond to that? Yes.
Yeah, I want to respond.
Yeah, it says
this morning.
You know the school.
This morning, what TV3 has done successfully is to be able to consistently shift the goalposts. They started with quality. We demonstrated to them that the free SHS has produced quality. Then they quickly, let me land. Then they quickly moved to access. Then we demonstrated to them that in terms of access, we've done well. Then they shifted back to infrastructure, and we demonstrated to them that we have the STEM schools. Okay. Now the argument is centered on food. We serve 1.3 million students morning, afternoon, evening. The assurance I'm giving to parents, children, and everybody is that the government is doing their best. The Minister for Education is doing their best. Yes. Wherever there are challenges, we will quickly go and resolve it. Except to say that we believe that as a media station, whilst we report the unpleasant side, as a country, we should also demonstrate that we've done some good things and also do them. Okay.
So next week you have to take us to one of the good sites.
Yeah, the labs. The science laboratory.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes. Yeah, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Edukrom.
Edukrom.
Yes, please.
In the eastern region, people are getting... Okay, please. What's your practical experience to the debate or the discussion?
Roland, let me say this. I'm a teacher and a house master besides. What exactly is going on? But the food they serve. So when you go look at the food they serve, you can have half a ladder and then some kind of stew. It's very bad. Let's not say that. Let's not make it politics. It's very bad. They need to just address the issue and stop making it politics as if they are defending. We are on the ground and we know what is going on. So if you should just stop saying that, defend that, oh, they have not done anything. When you come to the school, we don't even have food. We have served rice for almost a month. And it's rice in the morning, rice in the afternoon, rice in the evening.
Why are you doing that as teacher? You should be changing the food for them. You eat rice every time of the day.
If you make mistake, transferred. Your head will be transferred, or they've been doing it in the certain way.
All right.
So we just don't take pictures of this.
Points made.
Yeah, you know how it is done.
Can I react to this one?
Yes, please.
You see, I'm just landing because I'm a resource person. So you give me the opportunity. Maybe next time you speak.
Mr. Kwatin, please. I love the fact that you are telling.
I'm thinking on the subject matter of the whole claim that when teachers come out to report incidents of, let's say, challenges within the school, they'll be victimized. I've always not subscribed to it.
But is it not true there?
No, in the sense,
sometimes.
It's true. No, you see, within TV3 here, you have your own official way of communication, and there's a formal way of corresponding issues that are related to your work. Every organization has same. It is only in government of Ghana that people expect that if you are an employee of government, you shouldn't use the right channels. And I find that quite problematic. Beyond that, let's even admit, let's even grant that what they are saying even is true without even admitting. What is preventing them from speaking through NAT? What is preventing them from speaking through CHAS? What is preventing them from speaking through their mother association? So it makes if the argument is that individually, when you come out with the facts, you'll be victimized. You have, associations that you speak to, and those are your official mouthpiece. So what is preventing you from speaking to them? So it makes it quite difficult to believe and ascertain whether indeed those claims are indeed true. But you see, as leadership,
Roland, you said the claims are lies.
Roland. If I had wanted to say lies, I would have just said it. What I'm saying is that it makes it quite difficult to believe, because you see, teachers don't just make claims; they speak through their unions. I'm not sure the argument is that the whole union will also be victimized.
So now you
the whole
agree
union
that the teachers spoke through the unions and the union made their position?
No.
But you say at some point,
I am reacting.
It's only one person who made the decision.
No, I am reacting. I am reacting to the fact that he said that when they come out to make such claims, they'll be victimized. And I'm saying that, I mean, that cliche have been abused, if you ask me. More especially when there are official channels of communication, one, and even beyond that, the teachers themselves have associations that they can speak to.
Okay.
But I mean, the point is that
you have
whatever,
your phone here.
the point is that whatever concerns as a ministry, our whole aim is to resolve it, and don't let us pretend that all the challenges probably that is coming within the education sector were born by the free SHS program. If for nothing at all, the facts are very clear.
So now let's
that
cash out. We have a giveaway we do on the show. It's called cash out. So you have to dial the. Please take your phone.
Are you giving us cash?
Yes. So dial the number *439#. *439#. *43. Please go through. It's only 5 cities. Hurry up.
Which number?
Okay, let's count down. 3, 2, 1. We have the winner for now. Please do it. You win. You may win. There's a problem. Okay, so the first winner is *439#. The first winner is 0550389 number. Going. Now let's do the second one. Let's do the second one quickly. We'll try and call the first. Try and do it. Dr. Aye, try and do it. Okay, so the second one. Let's do the second draw. Are
we donating or we are getting?
No, it's not. You are playing cash out. It's not donation. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Cash out. So the number winning this time is 0243731. Continuing. So, yeah. Okay.
Can I wrap up?
All right. So we have, okay, so we have Manterim Godfrey, who says, please tell Kwesi Kwarteng on the MP man to stop what he's saying. There are real practical issues on the ground. Okay, Pablo Humble says, the same person who said NAT is a one-man show is now telling teachers to report through their association NAT. What a contradiction. And then...
Double standards.
And then Benedicta, Benedicta Adjuanyakun says, Roland, can you please tell Kwesi Kwarteng that he is doing a great job for Ghana Education Service and the MPP as a whole? You should pick it up. Okay, so I have this one from Yao. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
What's your name?
My name is Annie Kotoka.
Annie Kotoka. Please, where are you talking from?
I'm talking from Danu.
Danu?
Yes, I'm all right excited.
Oh, you are the proud winner of our cash out draw for this morning. How much did you win, Annie? How much did you win?
1,000. I'm just overexcited. This is the 5th time playing this.
And this is the 5th time.
Yes.
Okay. Kwesi Kwarteng, try and be fair. After this. Okay, so thank you very much, Annie. We'll try and get
1,000.
Oh, okay. So
please make sure that you send through the short code. We have *439#.
Roland.
Now, Nana, yes, you wanted to say something.
Mr. Kwesi Kwarteng is singing on both sides of his lips. In one breath, he is saying that the teachers should channel their concerns to the appropriate bodies,
situate it in the proper context,
and also situate in a proper context. But the same NAT has spoken, and Kwesi Kwarteng is saying that they don't know what they are talking about. Whatever they have said, if they are told to it well, they wouldn't have made those points. And I think it's very insulting because NAT is a professional body that is made up of
actually the highest
280,000. They are the receiving end of whatever bad policy that this MPP government implements. And so when they come out to churn out their concerns, it is important that Kwesi Kwarteng remains humble. You see, he is the PRO, so of course his inclination is to defend the government and also make sure that government is seen in a good light. But the point is that these are genuine concerns, and that it is not just a mere coincidence that only few schools. These are serious issues that bother most schools, threatening the stability and of students. Yeah, thank you.
Now, hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, please. Please, have you gotten a text message that says that your your mobile money account has been credited. We're at TV3 New Day.
Yes.
How much do you have, sir?
Yeah, I have 1,000.
1,000. Please, I'll send you my number.
Yeah,
okay, please spread the word. The hashtag is *439#. Okay, *439#.
Okay.
Okay. What's your name?
I'm Abdul Majid.
Abdul. Where are you talking from?
I'm talking from Medina.
Medina. Charlie, take care. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Nana Yao Bromsey, we have to go for a break. Because of the poor implementation, teachers are now taking monies.
Jackpot of the week. Place bets and hit the jackpot. Log into the OneXBet account. Click on the Take Part button. Place bet and take part in the jackpot draw. Give your luck a chance. Use promo code to get a bonus on your first deposit.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly. Not for persons below 18 years. Gambling can be addictive.
You know the now. You are living the now. You feel secure in the now. But what about tomorrow? What happens when you can no longer do the things you love? What happens to your loved ones when you are no longer here? Get Mikakrawa from Prudential Life now and protect your future and that of your loved ones. With as little as 3 Ghana cedis, Mikakrawa covers you in case of death, total and permanent disability, or critical illness.
Saga, Abraboy, Uncle Tabu, a dead and Danny, the plan of that 45 city, intimate dying. No, you say about that. 5 weeks this year, Nadal, star 778 ash. Oh, I'm telling you this year. Come with this year. Come with this year.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chesena me ankasa me period no say problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chesena nya asem ketewa na mkwan point no mo hwe me mogya mu no mo hwe bibia na so mo medu me fae no ene ma won kra me enu foforo kwa na mkwan mu a eba head everything yourself
me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko end point o mama nura ene ne ho idea watimi asori anante.
That's end point for you of Acrobato. Hello hey ohwehwe what che okay a free bra wo di end point wa dance am me ko ye no me Johnson sema na enkoyie en paso na ma yemre nyina na magina sebema na me no be fie for there e ho na nyina jaresa. You heard everything. I have secret. M-Punch is my secret. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. I'm free.
Am I not forgetting something?
Easy. When I was 26, I got my first chance to perform a surgery.
Can I have a selfie? Thank you so much.
So I was holding the scalpel. My hands were trembling.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can I have your autograph, please? Sorry, sir.
Yes, go on.
Well then, as soon as the senior surgeon entered the OT, Yes, Dr. Matur. I'll be there in 30 minutes. It's an important surgery. Rain check?
Sure.
They are in love, but will they be able to adjust?
Eternal Love shows Tuesdays to Fridays at 6 p.m. only on TV3.
Brought to you by Out Multipurpose Insecticide Spray and Quell.
Are you ready to win solid cash every day with Cash Out? Be a proud winner of lots of cash simply by watching or listening to any of Media General stations. That's right, you are being rewarded for your loyalty. Tune in to all Media General brands. TV3, 3FM 92.7, Onia TV, Onia FM 95.1, all in Accra, Akuma FM 87.9 in Kumasi, and Connect FM 97.1 in Takrady. To enter enter the Cash Out raffle on your favorite Media General station, just dial *439#. Follow the prompt and pick your favorite platform to enter. Voila! You are now eligible to become one of the 10 lucky winners of a cool cash prize. Remember, this is every day, all day on your favorite Media General station. Cash out and win big! This is in partnership with Radio Entertainment Limited. This promo is regulated by the National Lottery Authority on the Caritas Lottery platform. Terms and conditions apply.
The old narrative of a woman only belonging to the kitchen is long gone. In today's world, a woman can be anywhere she decides to be, whether in the kitchen cooking or in offices where corporate decisions are made. In fact, anywhere and everywhere, women can choose to do anything they want to stand out. Beneath all the makeup and beautiful clothes are women who have lived through it all. We literally live the expression, turning lemons thrown at us into lemonades. Thank you, everyone. The journey to being a great, successful woman is not easy. And on these brand new episodes of Today's Woman, I'll bring you women from all walks of life who will share their stories with you, inspire you, uplift you, and let